Hey guys, StarCraft here, and I have someone here with me, a guy who's been here with me since the start of the show, Alazmat.
Oh
Alazmat.
shit! Oh, God damn it! You should have told me it was coming. Hold on. All right, all right.
So, hey, how's it going, man?
Let me zip my pants. Hold on.
Whoops, sorry, I thought I gave you the heads up.
That's what notifications are for. The 30-minute notifications. It didn't even ring for me. So,
So, how you doing, man?
I've been busy, believe it or not, fulfilling my campaign. It's a great feeling. It's awesome
yeah.
to be able to bag and board these books, put them in their Geminis, sending them out, and then emailing my customers their tracking numbers. It's that in and of itself is a job, but I love it. It's just like, wow, you're really not solidifying that relationship with the customers. It's
Oh
great.
yeah, you've been working on this campaign for quite a while. You had a first attempt a while ago, and
Yes.
then you did your second attempt that was a bit more successful. I mean, the first one, you even said you were going to send them out there, and then, unfortunately, one reason or another, I was there when this happened. You couldn't reactivate it. It's like closed.
Yeah, Indigo closed that campaign down. You know what? And it's funny because in hindsight, that was probably a good thing because I was able to go back to the drawing board and see, okay, let's see what worked in this campaign, what didn't work. Because that campaign was the dead last in crowdfunding in 2019. So
wow, wow,
yeah. So
wow, that does not include ones that got almost zero, right? You know
well. At least as far as CG campaigns, from what I'm saying,
right. As far as CG campaigns, yeah. But yeah. So tell us about this book of yours, Street Warrior, Street Champion Roadwarrior Drake.
Yes, get the name right. There we go.
Yep.
What's great is I can talk about it with the actual book in my hand. So you're not just hearing it, you're seeing it with your own eyes. So
I can't wait to get mine.
With an ISBN number and everything. So this is a legit book. But this is 110 pages of pure fun and action, comedy, adventure. It's the Street Champion Roadwarrior Drake. He's the B citizen in a town called Skullkill. Think Visitor North Star meets Mad Max, meets with a little bit of Cerebus, you know?
Yep. So. Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Especially with your black and white design and everything. So tell us about Drake. I mean, you've utilized him before in your early days of your show. He hates being called a duck. Never call him a duck.
We said we we're getting political, so let's avoid the
So, yeah, tell us a bit about Drake.
Okay.
Yep, obviously.
So he's a lone beast in a town of humans post-apocalyptic war.
Gotcha.
You know, right. But the town is still somewhat functional. You still have one remaining police station, but they're on the brink of being wiped out because of the unrest being caused by the main villain. His name is the Crimson. He's a shadowy figure who has his hands on all kinds of different networks of gangs with their unique abilities and appearances. He also has the ability to call upon, certain factions who rise up, young protesters a la, well, let me not say it, but, you kind of know what I'm talking about. The young protesters that go out to the streets and do all
yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, and what's funny is that I wrote this story before that shit became a thing.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, as you were saying, I'm like, wait, you've been working on it for how long? And yet this sounds a little. Yeah.
I know. So it's funny how it worked out. This is actually a very topical book, but it's fun. It's exciting. I'm not trying to preach or anything like that.
Oh, right.
I just want you to just have fun and be like, oh wow, this is hilarious. So it's brutal in some spots, but other spots it's like, oh wow, So.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this is just going to be the start of a series, right? This is not just all self-contained. This is going to be like, no, you got more in mind.
And just to prove the point, in this particular campaign, thanks to reaching our stretch goals, and for some that were on the mailing list, the mailing list backers got these 3 books. You got the Ashcan, which features a crossover with a character called Vincent from Bloodhunt by Simon Pontier.
Right.
And you get the coloring book, which is a 3rd story in the Road Warrior Drake
saga. So you're both having a color book and a story. That's nice. Yeah. Normally it would just be a bunch of random pinups, but that's clever.
No, so this is something for adults and kids. The kids can have fun doing all kinds of activities like mazes. Aside from the coloring.
Yeah.
Let me show you another one here. I'm
gonna go out and guess when he's in a maze, it's gonna be like kids are like, I gotta get from here to there, and that's part of the story. Am I right?
I'll give you an example. You're actually right on the ball. So we have one of the characters, a young girl named Opal, who's being chased by a strange man. The next page is you or the child helping that child reach Road Warrior Drake to safety.
That's nice. That is good. That's clever. That shows a lot of forethought in this whole book.
Yeah, I was on this idea for a while. Tinkerpay Tic-Tac-Toe. Actually, I even have an activity where you take Road Warrior Drake's name and you could take words from there and make up your words from the name. And I challenge her. I said you can't use the words road or warrior.
Nice. That's pretty cool. That's a challenge.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff for kids to be busy aside from the coloring, and there's a story for the adults to follow because the events in this book will be referenced in the next graphic novel. So this one book begats these two small books, which all begat an entire saga. Now this book, read by itself is a complete story.
Oh, right.
These are nice supplements, and here's the thing too: with the Ashcan, which is a crossover. Something happens in the coloring book that makes these crossovers possible.
So you've really piqued my interest now. You've really piqued my interest.
So all the manual backers, including yourself, you got the complete package. Yes, so you got the complete package.
I am excited for that. Now you had a manga version as well. Do you have any of those to show off?
Not yet. It's right now. I'm getting the hardcover stuff being printed. So once that's printed, the manga will be the next to be printed. Once that's printed, I'll have all the orders fulfilled.
All right. So, and then you drew this. You've been drawing this for a while now. If I remember right, didn't you say you started to redraw them on the new campaign?
Yeah. So back in 2019, and while I'm talking about that, I'll look for some examples of the manga that I have on file so you can see for yourself.
All right.
But in 2019, I went through three different styles. So the first style was just cross-hatching and lots of shading. Second style was I added more grayscale on it, so the cross-hatching was removed in favor of either blacks or grays. And the third style, which is the current style, is more shade, more fades, a lot more shading, so it's more smoother. And to me, it represents, I think, the best style of the book, and I think people reading it will agree. I think it is definitely a better look for the book. So
I'll say this. I prefer books that give you more bang for your buck. And ones like, for example, Monster MD, which I'm going to review. I mean, look at that. Look how thick that book is.
Oh, I love the thick books are fun. I'm a fan of thick books. I especially do like the hardcover stuff. That's why I did a hardcover tier because I personally...
I like this, even though this wasn't a campaign, it's a sequel to The Soul Finder.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so you have that, or you have... But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm always into. I'm into books that are more bang for your buck and don't overcharge you. And that... I'll just say this right now, since we're on the discussion about this, where I feel some of the campaigns have kind of lost the way. You know what I'm saying? Ones where it's like, 40, it's on 40 pages. We're going to charge you $25. Like...
Right. Yeah, I didn't want that. I know exactly how you feel. I said, you know what? The way I see it is, it could be a year or two before my next book. Actually, I want to try to release it by next year. I don't want it to be that long.
Right.
But it could be a year or two, say for example, before you release your next book. You want to leave the people with enough substantial material so that they can be invested.
Yep.
And I'll give an example. Cyberfrog, great art, love the art.
Oh yeah.
To me, it felt like a good first act. It should have been more than that. I believe.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like I didn't feel invested in the story, and I'm waiting like a whole year or two for the next story. Then by that point, I'm like, I kind of lose interest. And that's the thing that the crowdfunding and the CG part, because not everybody in the crowdfunding has that issue. It seems to be more or less in the CG side. They need to work better on pumping out the books a little faster to keep backers invested and committed to the IP.
I mean, for example, take a look at within the past few years. Here's what Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini have come up with. Look how many of those in just the past few years. That's
listen.
One, 2, 3. There's 3 in here, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 9, and then another one's going to be starting very soon. Minus one out because some of those were not crowdfunded, but still. Whereas with Cyberfrog, if you count the 2 issues as one, well, you've had, as far as his campaigns, you've had these 3 in one campaign,
Yeah.
and then you have these 2.
Right.
And these are just reprints, recolorings of his other ones. So as far as his own story, minus this one, 2.
Right.
That's it.
So there needs to be more from creators to pump out. That's why I was adamant in my case with having 3 books here. So you got a lot of bang for your buck on this. Like the mailing list alone.
So there's your example.
$25. Yeah. Okay. So that's an example of the anime version of the book. Reads from right to left. So
right. Now, how did you do that? Did you actually redesign everything, or is this a redraw?
So no. So in this particular page, for example, I redrew her face to match the more manga style. I moved the panels around so that it reflects from right to left. So this is one example of how I turned it into a manga. Was that?
You didn't change any dialogue or anything, just where the bubbles went?
The bubbles I changed obviously so that it reflects that style. There were some instances where I did change Drake's face a little bit to reflect a more expressionistic manga style.
Right, I can imagine.
Right. So I've been looking at some manga examples to reflect that. So
I liked it though, the fact that you went the extra mile to tweak it so it matched the style, not just I'm just going to rearrange it and just put it into a manga format. Like no, you actually went above and beyond. Because, I can already imagine anyone else. Well, there's only one other campaign I won't mention that's done a manga variation as well, but I hope others do it too.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. It's an expanding business, and it is trouncing the Western comics. So I would think as a creator, you want to tap into that market and kind of like, re-inspire faith in our product by at the very least adapting our material to the style of manga to attract that audience.
Right.
So why not try it?
Yep, but like I said, you didn't change any words though, just the artwork and the location of things, right?
There's a couple of instances where the words change. Some instances, like there's a page or 2 where I took off a whole word balloon just because the design didn't call for it, and I said, okay, well, it doesn't affect the overall conversation, so I did that because I'm more interested in making the book look good. So if I have, if I had to take out a word balloon or 2 to make it look good, I'll do that because I'm more interested in just getting that particular version, making that one look strong.
Right, because I was more asking because, like for example, you don't have any self-awareness like Drake is all making a comment or anything because he's not that kind of character, right? He's not a fourth wall breaker, right?
Actually, he kind of is more, but the thing with Drake is this: like he talks to the audience because we're the only ones that will understand him. Because everybody else is like pissing him off or annoying him, so he'll just look at us and say, "I gotta rethink my life, my life." But he rarely does that. It's a rare thing. Actually, I can only think of one time in the book he actually does that. I think about it.
So it's just one of those. So it's just one of those where it's just one of those like he's just making that comment, but it's not relating to the book except him. Like you could look at it like he's talking to the readers, but he could also be just talking to a wall, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like he's reflecting on his actual feelings about a particular situation.
Right.
So he's reflecting it, and we're reading his thoughts on that.
Right. So, but he's saying it aloud, though. So, right.
No, and that one example, I'm thinking he's thinking it because he's hiding. So
okay, I get it. Yeah. So but well, hey, first of all, I just want to say I'm still hoping to do my own crowdfunding book one day, and the fact that you've been able to get yours out makes me think and makes me know I could possibly get it down because it feels like the hype train for the crowdfunding initiative is kind of dipped a bit. I wouldn't say it's died. It's not going to die when you have people like Sean Gordon Murphy and all that, but it has kind of, well, I think like Perch had theorized, reached that stable point. And I think some people are thinking this is going to be the big money maker when it's like, no, guys, that ship has sailed for the most part, unfortunately.
Okay, so this is what they're missing. And I've learned this the hard way, and thankfully I did because when I changed course, I became successful. This is what they're missing. You got to put the work in before you hit that launch button and then go. You got to have your audience. You got to have your IP set. You got to have at least a physical evidence of what you're doing.
Exactly.
To inspire confidence in the backers.
Oh yeah, I mean,
And
your first campaign, you're given a little bit of leeway for your first one, but if you plan on going beyond that, oh no, you got to make sure that they know it. That's why I feel like, for example, Monster MD, that wait was worth it. It was worth it for that.
Yeah, and the thing with the long waiting time is if you are consistent in updating your backers will be forgiving of how long it takes. The thing with the creators is they'll be 5 or 6 months late and they don't update, and you're like,
Oh no,
where the hell's my book? Like, what's going on?
yeah,
I made it a point to make sure on my end that every month I was giving a detailed update on what was going on in my book.
And I wish more people did that.
I think if more people did that, it would make the crowdfunding scene healthier. Because now more backers like, okay, at least we can trust this guy because he's doing his part.
And I say this, don't rely on them being on their YouTube stream as considered an update, because you shouldn't have to tell people, oh, you need an update, watch the stream. Well, where's the update? Why didn't you watch the stream? Because I don't watch an hour's long stream just to get an update.
Because not everybody has YouTube.
Exactly.
Not everybody goes on YouTube.
Not everyone has YouTube, and not everyone has the patience.
And ultimately, you want to build the mindset that people can and will disconnect from social media, but they'll always have their email. Your email list is your lifeline.
Oh, that is one thing I will give Mike Miller, for example, credit in making that clear. He was one of the first to make that clear. It's about your email listing that's the most important first when you start. And I'm like, yeah.
Absolutely. Because that email lifeline doesn't have to be just for the book. It could be now they got the books. Now you got a lifeline for merchandise. You know, get them, get the word to them and help them spread it out. So that is where your business is. That's your core.
But so what books influenced you on here? What was your biggest influence?
So
here's a lot, right?
No. It's a good question because a lot of the books that I liked growing up in terms of the comic world, they don't get talked about a lot in the CG circle. Like, for example, I know people. One of the most obvious examples is Eastman and Laird's Ninja Turtles, like the first issue. That's one.
And I get that vibe just looking at your artwork.
Yeah. But an example that people don't bring up is Mike Mignolet's Hellboy. That's to me, like, the rough and rugged style of that was suited for the character. And I'm like, the indie circuit, there's a lot of like different styles, different storytellers that influenced me as a creator. I was a fan of R. Crumb, that R. Crumb movie that he did like back in the 90s. If there's a single movie that I can watch that instantly motivates me to pick up a pencil and draw, it's that movie. Because he can sit down, he'll start drawing, and he's telling his story. And as he's telling the story and he's drawing, I'm like, he makes me want to create. Like, the guy's an oddball, but damn, he makes me want to create.
Definitely an oddball. I'll agree with that.
Yeah. So I'll give him that. He inspired me the way that Bob Ross would inspire me. Different characters, but they're creators, and they had that energy that's like, that's what I want to do.
Right.
So, I get a little bit of that. A little bit of Carl Barks. Carl Barks was a genius back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Carl Barks and Don Rosa even.
Yeah, the geniuses. Like their writing is like mind-blowing for the time. Very, very mind-blowing.
Definitely. I mean, especially with Don Rosa, The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, how he took all of Carl Barks' stuff. Stuff that even even Carl Feldon overdid it a bit, if I recall right.
Yeah. It was racy what he did, but you know what? It was fun.
Oh, definitely. It was. But, boy, talk about continuity porn. The comic book is what I call Life and Time of Scrooge McDuck. It's just nothing but filling in, gaps.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What about, was there any, but how about with the story, though? Is it more Ninja Turtles with the story, or?
I would say Fist of the North Star. More or less, it has that Fist of the North Star vibe with who else? Who else inspired me? I mean, it's the old, odd character in a town that doesn't understand them. He comes in and he's fighting the bad guys, but then it becomes more about having a purpose than just breaking bones, and he learns that lesson and realizes, you know what, he's got to just bite the bullet and accept that he might be purpose for something better or something more important.
Well, hey, I mean, I know how that is. Like, for example, with I'll tell you this. I was my idea for my crowdfunding. A lot of my influences are more recent writers, Jeff Johns and all that. But as far as with story writing, a lot of you want to know the biggest influence is Reboot. Well, at least season 2 onward, when Reboot started to have more of the story arcs and everything, and how you had like those mini arcs. You remember that in season 3?
I think the '90s, especially with cartoons like Reboot and even like Beast Wars.
Beast Wars, posted by Mainframe.
Yes. The writing got a lot more mature.
Mm-hmm. They brought in comic writers. They brought in comic writers for some of those.
Yeah, actually, the '80s and '90s, they had a lot of people that were working in comics, like Marv Wolfman,
Len Wein, and all that.
Don Golo's guys. Yeah. They understood telling the story without dumbing down their audience.
You want to know the biggest twist about Reboot season 3? Dan DiDio was in charge of Mainframe during that time.
Interesting.
So so you're like, what happened to him from there to DC?
Probably the people that was around him.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you could be in charge of something, but if you don't have a stable, grounded crew, you can make a lot of bad choices.
Oh, yep. I think this community's proof for that too. without bringing drama into things, but.
Well, it's not drama. It's an observation, and I've observed a lot. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I've gone from picking up a pencil and drawing on paper to fulfilling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I've been through that journey. So now I can have a full picture of it, and now I'm like, the drama part of it is silly. It's absolutely.
Oh yeah,
silly.
especially when people just thrive more on the drama than they are getting their books out. It's like,
right,
or they're thriving on politics, which is the one thing I'm fearful of. Say. Bigfoot Bill, Earthworm Jim. I'm worried that Doug's focusing more on his political side of his channel. I hope not, because he's done so well, but...
See, I understand why he's doing it, but I don't think he realizes that those people that are coming to his channel, they may not be interested in comics. You can't assume that because they're in your channel, they want to buy your book.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was one thing when it was the people who were in it for Earthworm Jim. Oh, yeah, that was huge because there's so many Jim fans.
And I'm not against growing your channel. I mean, listen, more power to him. It's just that, did it help his sales? That's the question.
To be fair, he hasn't even done a new book since he got these new people yet, so we don't know. It may, it may not. And part of me thinks he is aware of it, because when I did my review, he even did his tweet saying, like YouTube comment saying, hey, I know you guys are more here for my political stuff, but hey, I also do comics, and this guy's giving me a great review, so... I think, unlike other people in the community, he is at least aware of it. Whether or not it's starting to blind him, who can say?
Like I said, we won't know until the next campaign, so we'll see what happens. Right. Exactly. If it turns like he has his best campaign ever, then hey, that's the model that most players are going to follow. So
exactly. But as far as with other campaigns, I mean, as far as ones that are also their first that take a while, you have stuff like Wanpool, for example. That was worse than coming through, but. And, I don't blame them for the issues they had. It wasn't their fault, most of it.
I mean,
you have real life. You have real life when they're part-timers.
Right. Things happen. The thing is, and the thing that creators have to understand, all you have to do is keep your backers updated. That's it.
Oh, yeah. But I will say this. One thing that does bother me is when and both Cyberfrog and She are responsible for this, is in the middle of the campaign, after it's closed or and all that, when they decide to be, oh, this isn't going to be a self-contained story. It's going to be the first part of a series. And I'm like...
Yeah. And the thing is, like with crowdfunders, first part of the story...
Now,
I get you. I totally understand that. And the thing is, again, that goes back to why I wanted to make sure that my book, at the very least... Exactly. Like, if something were to happen to me tomorrow...
Oh, yeah.
You have enough of a story here to, like, be satisfied with it. So...
Oh, yeah. That's why, I mean, with She, it was worth it. Cyberfrog... kind of worth it for the art, but I don't know. It depends on how long he's going with this. You know what I mean?
You know what? I feel like he's gonna release an entire collection of this whole saga. So I'm probably gonna wait until he does that.
Oh yeah.
But until then, because I don't got much money to spend, so I'm very careful on what I spend it on, because I do want to get books that I know that once I've read it, I've gotten something. I've absorbed, consumed the world.
I say this, at the very least, I say keep it a trilogy. Like, again, Mike's been doing he has it as a trilogy. So he's made it very clear it's just 3 issues. He doesn't know if he's going to continue Lone Star or not. Right. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm perfectly good with that because it feels like a good trilogy. And the fact he was one of the first ones out the gate means I can accept it more. Like, I feel like I'm locked into it but not in a bad way. It's not a bad way where I feel like, oh, I got to wrap it up. But Easton, on the other end, I do kind of feel like I'm hooked into it a little. Like Rainbow Brute, I'm not getting it. I have no interest in Rainbow Brute. But Cyberfrog, I might stick around to the end.
Right.
Maybe not. It all depends on how the next one does.
So speaking of trilogies, this will be a trilogy. And with each successive book, you get more stories. So, like, for example, this campaign, you had these two books that came with it. The next campaign will probably come with an Ash Cam featuring the female character Pumpkin Warpatch and a rivalry that she has with another female.
Nice.
So that's a whole niche market altogether. So yeah, there's a little. I have an idea with that one. It may be a not for kids kind of book, but but nothing too
nothing too risque. Nothing too
right. But I'm saying, like, it's a niche market that I'm going with because there's people that are interested in that topic of women fighting, and I can get a separate audience with that. But it'll still add to the world building because you get a little bit of Pumpkin. A little bit of growth with Pumpkin Warpatch and events that happen in that book that tie into the second graphic novel. So
now I would say
it connects with the book too, actually. So
and hey, when you do the third book, hey, I could throw in some of my characters and maybe you could throw it in as a little thing for that one. Where because here's the thing about my stuff, I'm such a huge fan of the multiverse. The multiverse is one of the key things of my story. I actually take the whole Elseworld idea of there being other versions. And I actually have it be that they show up regularly and come in and out. Like what DC's trying to do currently with their movies, I've been doing that for a while where, you have one main universe, but you have other variations. Like some of them are like you combine two characters. And here's the other thing. I have a version of my universe that's all fan fiction-y characters, but I have another one that I've been working on for a long time that makes original versions where you squint, you could be like, oh, that's Danny Phantom. Oh, that's My Life as a Teenage Robot. Oh, that's Juniper Lee. But without getting a, copyright hammer coming at me.
Well, that's one of the things that CG has failed to capitalize on is the crossovers or the multiverse, as you said.
Exactly.
There's a lot of potential in that. And I'm open to it because of what happens in this book. Roadwarrior Drake can cross over with any character with no problem, and it'll be canon, and it can be explained away. So
you're going the Savage Dragon route with that?
Listen, I am keeping my options open, but again,
but you know what I mean by that, right? The Savage Dragon route, where the crossovers might not be canon with the one side, but with Savage, everything is canon.
Exactly. Yes. So you can bet if you see Roadwarrior Drake in the book, you know for a fact it's part of this universe, regardless.
Now, if he appears in someone else's book, would that be canon, or would that be up to you?
Well, any appearance that Drake is in, even if it's someone else's book, it's canon for Drake's universe.
Oh, so you are going this? Yeah, definitely the Savage Dragon route. Then that's awesome. But because again, I've been trying to get a good artist to do mine. I have a friend of mine who is my co-creator on a lot of these characters. Unfortunately, life's always kind of getting in his way at everything. So trying to get him to do a regular artwork, trying to keep him inspired to do artwork is sometimes a problem. I think, because for example, currently most of his energy is doing this Avatar: Legend of Korra fan fiction that's set. It's all original stuff. It's set way down the line, but that's where his passion is currently. But I don't blame him for that.
No, I mean it's fine if he wants to do that. I feel like with artists, you should invest in original IPs and not borrowed IP because you're bringing.
Exactly. Oh no, he's an artist too. He's an artist too, and he's defined most of my characters. In fact. Hold on, let me get some good ones. I'll show you what I mean. Hold on. Let me just load one up. But keep on talking a bit more about some other characters that are in Drake. Let other people know about them. Is there any female love interest or anything like that?
So there's no bestiality in Drake's world. He abhors all human relationships. But there is a funny scene. Okay, I'll give you a quick little preview. There's a funny scene where Pumpkin Warpatch is trying to get her groove on. Okay. So Drake goes into the door. And he's like, I don't know if he's like, I sense bestiality is at hand. And the guy is like, let me see if I can read. He says, that squeaky noise, do you have mice? And she's like, no, it's the foundation. It does that a lot. And then Drake gets pissed off because he's like, oh, you're cucking the Street Champion.
Jeez.
Hold on, let me... Yeah. Okay. So while you're doing that, let me just do a quick rogue gallery preview.
All right.
So this is so on the top here we have Steiner. He's got the bolts in his neck that emit a gigavolt of electric shock.
Ooh, nice.
Here you have Jacksaw, who's good with the chain whip that has has this kind of weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Which you can see it.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Wow. Woof.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yes. Sometimes the violence can be brutal in this book. And then you have Bron Bones McGillicuddy, who has his two muffins who do the dirty work for him. And then a key villain is Kofi. I say key because there's an arc with him that leads into the events of the second book.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can show him here. There he is.
Ah, nice.
So that's Kofi. So the villains themselves are very colorful. They're very animate. They're very funny in some ways. And I had the creator of Joe King, George Peter Gatzis, read it. He said he loved reading. He said it made him laugh quite a few times throughout the book. So I was like, oh, that's a good endorsement. So
nice.
Sometimes as a creator, I doubt myself. So it's good to have other people read it and tell you what works, what doesn't work. And he went over it with me and told me what works, what didn't work, what to fix, what didn't fix. But he said overall, he had a blast reading this book.
Nice.
So I guarantee you will have a blast reading this book. I guarantee.
I'm expecting to have a good time reading it.
Yes, and then when you're done with that, you could read the crossover, or you could read the coloring book first, because then it'll explain the crossovers, every crossover going forward. So take your pick. But yeah,
sorry, I'm just trying to get this.
Yes,
it's going to have to lead to a showing our screen for a moment. So hold on. Hey, there's one character of mine right there. Can you see her?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's Ninja, and that's my Ninja character. That was done by Ron Friends.
Okay.
You know Spider Girl and all that.
Yes. I see that inspiration. Now that face reminds me of somebody.
Well, that's supposed to be like I said, that's supposed to be Spider Girl. That's supposed to be Mayday.
Oh, okay.
That's the artist who drew this. I commissioned him to do this.
Because some artists they'll draw a female that's someone in their life, someone they pattern after real life, and then that.
I don't know if Ron did that or not. I think he was just going for May.
Gotcha.
Next one, Billy Tucci also did a drawing of my ninjetic character.
That is nice. Yes, that is very nice.
Yep. Yes. The most of these are done by my friend Dan's his name, but yeah, her name's Chloe. Yep, there's that there. Yeah, you can see that a lot of this over the years. A different friend did that one. But yeah, we also have. Let me go back a bit. Jewel here. Oh, this is a pride of joy of ours because she is basically a gynoid, an android.
Really? Wow.
Very techno-organic, very human. You look at her, you'd think, oh, she's a human. No, she's an android. If we look at those rocket shoes and everything. Yeah. That is her as an adult, like there, but that's her as an adult. When she's much younger, hold on. This is her much younger.
Okay.
Yep, and I've had a lot of art. This is Ale and Garza doing artwork.
I like the different styles. There's a lot of fluidity in these styles.
Well, again, these are all commissions I've done over the years. Angel Medina, that was a free sketch. Right. Art Balthazar, Craig and Russo. Right. George Perez.
Oh, okay.
Where he retired.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Hey, Scott Campbell, that was a free one. Jeremy Freeman, an inker. Jimmy Galney. Joe Pareto. I love that one.
Well, that's beautiful. I like that one a lot.
Yep. Katie Cook. You can barely see it. It's one of her little small drawings she does.
Yeah.
Nate Lovett. Phil Hester. Believe it or not, that was a free one.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah. Wow. Phil Jimenez.
That's a good one. That was like wallpaper. That's good.
Yep. Todd Nowak. And then there's one more. There's more back to Dan again. But yeah.
Yeah.
This is when he started getting a bit more toony. He's trying to draw her more into My Life as a Teenage Robot style.
Yeah, it has that Kim Possible look to it.
Yep. But yeah, things like that. But like I said, here we have Ron Stegman drew that one.
That's nice. That's a very good ink.
Yeah. Yep, and Derek Robinson did this one.
Okay. Well, you have a lot.
Yep, Aaron Lopresti. Oh yeah, I've had a lot of people do these drawings.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are her friend, Chloe's friends, Sydney on the right and Xander or Alex on the left.
Yeah.
There's another one, Ali. But yeah, he loves drawing cars, as you can see.
I can tell, yeah.
But yeah, then we also have one of the villains, Assassina. Let me just get to where she is. That one we love. She's basically her Venom, but she's a Jinn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what a Jinn is, right? You know what a Jinn is, right? The type of like genie kind of thing, but in this case, we treat it more symbiote-like.
Yeah.
There's another version of her. But yeah, we also have other characters like Ali eventually becomes Hyperactive Girl or Hyper Girl, kind of our Flash.
You got some good concepts there. So yeah, you definitely should like. Now, is the issue trying to find an artist, or is the issue?
Yeah, the issue is trying to get a regular artist. We also have here's some more commissions. My Big Villain Vitzer by Andy Lanning, Angel Medina, Chris Burnham, Dan Fraga. Just so many. Well, my favorite is this one by Norm Rampman because he actually colored it. And gave me something I never saw of having the character. Those scars. Or those markings. I never thought about that. He added that in and I'm like, I'm keeping that.
This is why you let an artist do his work without interfering, because he will actually add a depth or layer to your IP that you weren't aware of. But it's like, wow, that does work. That's good.
Exactly. Tim Seeley again. And that's all based off of this original drawing that my friend Dan did.
Yeah.
And then we've just come up with such good stuff. Another example of that was, unfortunately, could lead into legal issues. Is where is it? Was Jewel right here? People love giving Jewel the tattoo. Unfortunately, that's the cluster symbol for My Life as a Teenage Robot.
Oh wow!
So we can't use that tattoo. We'd have to change it.
I mean, you could change it digitally. It's not a.
But that's something that people love drawing. Whenever I've had commissions, they're always doing that. Oh. There's a dog over there.
Yeah, he's fine. He's at my foot. He's good.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, one other image I was going to show was where is it? There's other artists of mine. One I'm trying to get. The guy who did that Jewel one also has done this fan art.
Yeah,
Hula versus Shigo. He's one I would want to do the artwork because look at his style. Like, he does all of his artwork and coloring and everything.
Right. Yeah, it does look good. Yes.
I would love to have him do that. Especially, he's improved so much lately. Here's Jewel, younger, with Jenny, but yeah, then her as an adult and everything. And you can see I have this legacy planned out for her. Her as a teenager, her as an adult and a mom, and then her as a grandma.
Hold on one second. Come here.
Dog's acting up.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, dog's acting up.
No, he has to go and do his business, so I let him out.
Gotcha.
He starts scratching on the door, and he's like, "Okay, that's my cue to let him out."
Trust me, I know. Have dogs of my own, but not with me. But
yes,
at my parents' house. But hold on, I'm just getting two others. Just don't want to have to keep showing that stuff. But where is he?
Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to make sure that my dog's in the body.
Right. But where's the other one? Just give me a moment here. Trying to find it. There it is. Here's also another character that my friend Dusty Kim drew. There's Vitzer there, but then there's one that he designed, Demetria. Basically, here's an example of me having all this stuff thought out. I have so much details, it's not funny.
Yeah.
Vitzer, they're both part of a race called the Garurians. They're conquerors. They go around wiping out planets, but they don't do it because they think we want to wipe them out. They go to each planet to test them, to see if they are worthy of coexisting with them. They usually fail and they wipe them out. But in their eyes, at least in Vitzer's eyes, he doesn't like wiping them out.
Yeah.
But he's also of the belief of he wants to change, but the people have been doing it for so long that you can't just do it overnight. You can't just simply say, we should change our ways because that's blasphemy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's intriguing. Absolutely. I definitely like that design. It definitely works on a comic panel. So, yeah, I can see why the search for the artist can be a very specific type, because you want to have a specific style that you want to see come to life. So I totally get that.
Now, the funny thing about Demetria here, this is her at the beginning. She looks, she's basically the second best next to Visceru. Right. But eventually, let's just say by the end of her arc, now this is also going to include my Ninjetta character, but this one is done by, in the fan fiction version, where she's done by Kimmy from All Grown Up and Rugrats. And another friend of mine's who has a character named Tri-Spirit Warrior. Right. Now, look how Demetria is here. And then this, what I'm about to show to you is in her final story.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. She's basically become more monstrous after her and Visceru's former mentor tried to take over her body, but her will won out. But because of that, she's been partially malformed by that. So you have the power and height of being like Visceru, but mixed in with her.
Is you sure it's not her on her period? Maybe that's what maybe it's a feminine care commercial.
No. But yeah, that's her. But like I told you, I have this all sought out. I have so much sought out for this universe. I just wanted to show that off, to show off what I have sought out. And yeah, I wouldn't mind maybe one day you could have Drake show, like we can have them show up in Drake's book or something. Have a little crossover there.
Yeah, I mean, we could do maybe like an Ash Karen or something. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. But yeah, because, but like I said, I have so many ideas in here that I just want to let it out. And that's why if I do crowdfunding, I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for any of that. I just want to share it with the world.
Hey, let me tell you this. I didn't make a lot of profit with this, and I'm okay with it because I got the books. The customers are getting the books, and to me, I'm thinking long term. This is the first step.
Exactly.
And the thing is, I get more reward with them getting their books and reading it, consuming the property, and saying, "I want more."
Exactly, which I think is that's the one downside with some of these in the crowdfundings lately. It's more about, it's a victory for me if I reach the highest ever, or if I reach way beyond by the time it closes. I'm like, no, that shows you are successful. I think the number I wouldn't look at wouldn't be the dollar amount. I'd be looking at the number of people who bought it, the number sold. That's what I would look at.
Total 100 people bought this book, and many more outside are asking about copies and all that stuff. So it's growing. And to me, that's the first step. So,
exactly. And if I bought more of those, I would be showing those to my local comic book store and trying to encourage them to get it.
Oh, that's in my plan, actually. Believe it or not, little disclaimer, Jeff Comics, the comic store that is they have Alterna comics. Yeah. So they're near where I'm at. So I can, it's easy. Hey, I got some books if you want to just have a copy.
Exactly. So, I wish, again, more people should have it as an option. Again, there's so many people in this community. This is where we can kind of diverge away from, some stuff and be more talk about current, just random shoot the breeze now. I personally feel that people have lost sight of that. They lost sight about it because they think like, because of this happened in the early days, we don't want anything to do with the stores. It's like, guys, most of those stores are out of business now.
I mean, it's terrible seeing people go out of business. It's terrible seeing these comic shops closing.
I'm talking about those though that were part of the big problem with your boy Zach's books. Most of those gone. So don't blame other stores that didn't do that.
Yeah, you don't want to.
That's my fault.
You don't want to lump everybody together because of a few instances. I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm like, offer it to other stores. Have them try and sell it. Get yourself spread out. Don't be focused on just this community, because I think that's the other problem. They're focusing more internally on themselves and not thinking about those who are beyond the community.
See, the community should be a stepping stone, not the be-all, end-all. Exactly. That should be your core, but you want to go expand because, number one, you want to succeed. So you want to expand to get yourself out there. You also want to expose what in my opinion, which is a good IP to people that aren't invested in these communities, but they might want to read a good comic book. Well, look at other venues to get them exposed to it. Like as you say, for example, going to a comic shop. Hey, what do you think? They like it? I got 5 copies to give you. See how well it does.
Exactly.
If it feels like hotcakes, I'll get you more. You know.
Now, as far as thinking ahead, do you have anything in mind for? I know you've done the voice for Drake. Would you want to do the voice if there was an animated version or something like that, or do you have an actor in mind?
So since you brought that up, by the second book, I'm depending on how far the growth is for the IP. I am legit going to do a crowdfund for a live action feature film.
Whoa!
Okay. I have the camera equipment. I can get these score composers at my dime, not an issue. I can do my own editing. All I gotta do is raise money for the practical effects, the props.
Oh yeah, the costume for Drake alone.
Exactly, and I can do it for a reasonable amount. I can legit make it happen. And as far as the voice, I'd probably get someone else to do the voice, if anything. But if not, I'll stick with the voice.
But do you ever have an if hypothetical, fantasy casting? Who would you want to voice?
Good question. I don't know yet. I have to think about that one. All right. That's a good question. Now I got to really think about it.
Because personally, you know what I would suggest? I would suggest what's his name? The voice of Perry from Phineas and Ferb, D. Bradley Baker.
I got
because he's done other acting, acting bits as well, like Daffy Duck and Space Jam and Larfleeze in the Green Lantern cartoon.
You know who would be the best voice actually for Drake? If I can, I don't think I can do it because it's a lot of money. But if I can get him, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, that would be perfect.
He would be Drake to the T.
Oh, really? So you kind of feel that kind of a voice for him?
Oh, yeah.
When I hear you do his record, the voice for him before, it kind of has that but more gravelly Dwayne voice.
Yeah. Definitely The Rock. He would be if I can get him, it would be the perfect casting for Drake.
Right, but I'm sure that just to be fair, I'm sure there's other regular voice actors who could do that kind of voice without having to go all out. And,
I will hold casting calls and hear them out and say, okay, that's the voice.
Yeah,
By
exactly.
the way, the chat, Bianca's there. Hey, Bianca, how you doing? By the way, Bianca was a big part in helping me.
Nice.
Find the story. So, big ups to Bianca. How you doing?
Yep. And I'm me, guys. Yep. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Yep.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, again, with this whole thing was crowdfunding. I feel it, like I said, people kind of lost their way and thought about this more making money as opposed to, guys, the whole point of this was to make IPs if something was to happen to the big two, we need to give people a reason to come to us, not just hope that, we're the last one standing, come to us. It's like, you're an island. Not everyone's going to swim to an island because, it has something that they want. You have to give them a reason to come to that island.
You want to be like King Kong. He was the god of his island, but once he's at that island, he conquered New York City. You want to conquer the outside world. So you want to be like Kong.
Exactly. But unfortunately, no one has Kong. If they do have Kong, they have original movie Kong. They don't have Godzilla versus Kong, size Kong. That one would dominate.
Yes.
Because unfortunately, because we know what happens with regular King Kong. But
great film, by the way. He did cuck out though, but it's a great.
But when you have Godzilla versus Kong size, unless he's against Godzilla, who I think represent the main studio. That's why I go say, have you seen the new movie? Have you seen Godzilla?
I have.
So you know when I'm saying this. Yeah. If you have the mainstream as Godzilla, but you have the community as Kong, if we can get something that big, so long as we don't mess with the mainstream, we could dominate our own area.
And to touch on that point, the goal is not to fight the mainstream. You know, either support or don't. But there is other creators out there that are producing good IPs. Invest in them, help them grow, and then I think this is what I think. I think if the outside independent industry if it was influential enough and creative enough, the mainstream would take notice and fix their shit.
Oh, and I think people like Zack Snyder and Scott Snyder, Jeff Johns, James Tynion, Peter Tomasi is going to be doing them all. All of them going more into the independents are showing it. I mean, I just read Geiger. Have you read that yet?
Not yet. I've heard it. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, it is so good. It is so good. And, you have Scott Snyder was Noctra. You have Keanu Reeves was Berserker. Right. I think this is starting to become the age of the indies.
Yeah.
And we need to jump on this. We shouldn't just say, crowdfunding. We should not be saying oh, crowdfunding in these indies include the crowdfunding books. No, don't go into that mindset. You got to take a step up and separate yourself into being actual indie, not just, oh, we're crowdfunding, we're by de facto part of that. No.
It's the first step. It's not the be-all, end-all.
Exactly.
Don't just rely on the crowdfunding. That should be the stepping stone to something bigger. That's
Exactly.
the only way we can fix the I mean, I hate to say it, because I'm not big on fight a culture war, but for like a brevity, the only way to fight it is to expand and to counter it with something.
Yeah, you can't just sit around and just start shouting at the brick wall that is the other side. Because let's be honest, that's why I look at the Godzilla thing. Actually, I think is apt. You can't just shout at Godzilla and expect it when it's going to be like steps on you, which I think is the big problem. But
plus, why shout at Godzilla? But you could just shout as Kong and make your own voice. You know?
Exactly. You could join up with make your own Kong and be able to again not fight them, but dominate. You could be the ruler. Maybe you might not be the rulers of all comicdom, but like he is with the Hollow Earth, you could be rulers of a specific but still big section.
By the way, I'm Team Godzilla, just so everybody knows.
Oh, so am I. Oh, trust me. Yeah. I am so Team Godzilla going into it. Yes. And as soon as it was done, I was like, yes, definitive answer. Godzilla would have trounced him.
Yes.
Oh, and Mechagodzilla, I don't get why people don't like the design. I liked it. I mean, for what it is.
It works in the film. The action figure, I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it anywhere.
But it's when you see about it, given how big Godzilla is, and given how Mechagodzilla is bigger than him, this is technically the tallest Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, Heisei used to be the tallest. This trounces that. You're like,
yeah.
Because did you see the point when they both did the fire beams?
Yep.
He was like a quarter of Godzilla taller.
Yeah, that's a good point because if you see it, the beams were at an angle. So
you're like shit. Yeah. But now, hey, if we're gonna talk about that, what did you like? What would you rate that movie?
I would say
to the others in the franchise.
Okay, I would say it. As far as the monster fights and the way they were shot, it is the best in the series. Mm-hmm. So definitely has the best monster fights. The most smoothly paced of the movies because it's under 2 hours, so there's not a lot of human stuff and it doesn't drag out anything. So
unfortunately, human stuff was where it suffered.
It did, and
on Godzilla's side anyway, not Kong, in my opinion.
No, the Kong side was okay. The Godzilla side, it was too flat. The human side. That's why I kind of like when people give shit about King of the Monsters having a bad human storyline. It wasn't great, but you know what? It was engaging, and it did actually point to the monsters. So you weren't really paying too much attention to the silly human drama as much as it was what they were saying about the Titans and adding to the myth and the lore of the Titans.
And I say this, the human drama could have worked if the mother wasn't so infuriatingly stupid.
Right, yeah.
Because Charles Dance, if it was all about him, I think it would have worked. When you had the mother, and you was like, the writers wanted to feel sympathetic for her, but everything she's doing, you're like, die, bitch, just die, bitch.
That's a good point. You know what? They should have expanded. Actually, Charles Dance should have came back for the Kong versus Godzilla movie. I don't know.
What the heck happened? That's one thing I want to know. What happened to that group? How did they get the head of Ghidorah?
Exactly.
And what did they wipe it out? My friend Ingrid was on one of our review, and she actually made a good point. What if Apex wiped them out? Just went in with guns, took them out, and of course no one better than I, because hey, they were part of the attack of the monsters.
Right.
I'm like, that would make sense.
It would, and it's that something simple as that should have been included, but it wasn't. So now it's like, now you're left wondering with a big hole. Like, what happened between King of the Monsters and this movie where King Ghidorah's head somehow transported from one destination, from one group to another unrelated destination with an unrelated group? Like, what happened?
As far as why didn't he regenerate? Well, we already saw he wasn't regenerating in the end credit sequence. So I think as soon as a new head formed, it's not going to be like a starfish where, this one could grow into a new one. I think people assume that, but nothing showed it.
No, and the thing is, again, we're left guessing.
We are, because we don't know. But you know what I would want to see next? And again, this is something that Ingrid definitely was pushing for. I want them to get the rights to Gamera next.
You know what? They can make it happen.
If they can get him from Daiei, it would be, just imagine it. Then you would have Kong in control of the Hollow Earth. Then Godzilla, if they go with the high side Gamera, you would have it be that, of course, now how would Godzilla feel like, oh, hell no, I'm not giving up the ocean to this turtle.
Exactly. That's a whole other conundrum right there. So
yeah, but again, I think there's so much, and I think the MonsterVerse is the best example of handling a cinematic universe besides the MCU.
Yeah. Actually, the whole Godzilla verse was the first cinema. Well, not the first. It was the second.
No. Yeah. The first one was the Universal Monster.
Right. And then
that was the first. And even that one had hardly any continuity. But technically, I would say the Godzilla stuff isn't so much a MonsterVerse so much as a linear continuity. And even then, it wasn't that tight until the 90s Heisei reboot.
Right. Exactly.
Which, that's my favorite era, by the way. That is my favorite era, is the 90s.
I mean, I love the 90s films. I grew up watching the Showa film, so...
Oh, yeah, so did I. But you know what? One thing that has that no other MonsterVerse has ever had, Mickey Sagusa. Yes. That's my favorite human character, period, hands down. Her action is great.
I had a crush on her as I was watching the movie, so I was like, yes.
Yep. The only time I didn't like her was in Space Godzilla, because I did not like that pixie cut of hers. It's like...
Yeah, I don't know why they cut her hair. Then I didn't mind her getting a storyline for once.
Oh, no, yeah, but it was pointless.
Yeah.
It amounted to nothing. It was like, oh, maybe she can control Godzilla.
Dominic, how you doing? You have Dominic.
Hey, Dominic, how's it going? But, I mean, now, if you were to bring a monster into Drake's world, would you do that? A kaiju, I mean.
You know what? I think about it because without spoiling it, a form of monsters will be dominating the world in Drake the next couple of books, so I'm not going to spoil it. If you read the end of the book, you'll see what I'm talking about. So that is an idea. I'm also entertaining the idea of a mecha, like some kind of robotic entity. Not a robot Drake, but a robotic entity of some kind to be introduced in the second, possibly the second or not the third book. So it is.
So we're talking more Terminator-esque, more so than a.
I would say more Ed 209-esque with.
That would be that would be pretty cool. So more of a big, just big robot itself, but not humanoid looking.
Not humanoid looking, but the ability to process and think.
Right. Well, hopefully not as dumb as Ed 209.
Right. Yes, not as dumb as Ed 209.
Yeah, because yours is just like, dogs urinating on it.
Yes.
I love Frank Miller doing that joke. I love that joke because he's the one who did that joke. You know, shooting the dog when it was urinating on him. It's like,
yes.
But
he wrote Robocop 2.
Robocop 2 and 3 and Robocop vs. Terminator. You have I have the comic adaptations of those two movies, and I wish that was the movie we got. I really do. Well, the third one, I mean. The second one, was good.
The second film, I appreciate. You know, I was like in and out with it, but now you ask me, I appreciate it. If it comes on, I watch it. So
third one, though, I wish they went with what he did because when you read the adaptation, you have to take into account this is not a sequel to a second script. This is a sequel to the second movie that was shot.
Right.
Hence why some characters that got killed off in the second script are still alive, like the female doctor, and why and they actually bring back in the old man, which I hated how they just didn't have him in. It's like, you have the old man for the first two movies, and instead you get Rip Thorne for the next one.
Yeah. It's weird, like these casting decisions. It's like, you know, I don't think it even called for a third movie, to be honest with you, but they decided
no, but if they went with the second script, it would have.
Yeah.
Now, as far as other campaigns, I'm just want to bring, since you're here, just bring up any discussions. Like, have you read the Ironsides books?
I haven't. At some point, maybe it'll be on eBay for $2 and I'll buy it off eBay because, that was the first book he did, and it got a lot of.
He did to get things going. Yeah, he did to get things going. Yeah.
Right. So I was turned off. I was turned off by that. So I was like, nah, let me hold my money on that one.
Right. Well, I'll just say, first one was good. It told what he needed to do. Second one, I question if he obviously didn't put that much thought into it because when you bring back the main character from this one and then hardly do anything with him, and you kill him off unceremoniously, have no one else worried. It's like, what was the point?
That's the knock on Richard C. Meyer is he doesn't know how to build a world. He doesn't know how to build his IP.
Except for this. Except for here. But even then, he built them up. Unfortunately, he already had to be characters were killed off during the book.
Exactly.
And now he's feeling like, I got to bring him back.
I don't know. Like, it's...
I know, but I think he's better than some of the others. I think as far as building it up, because Like the fact that he has a point during the whole first story where you have the guy gather up rose petals that after his gun got turned to rose petals, he put it into his holster. Right. And then once he needed it, he pulled it out and it was a gun again. It's like, okay, that's forethought.
Yeah.
I don't think that was an accident. I think he knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then you have stuff like this, these two, Pandemic and the Battle of No. It's like he rushed it out, if you ask me. Yeah,
Pandemic got a lot of bad feedback, especially because the lead character.
Yeah, because it just felt like, why did you have to? I feel like he rushed it out to make it timely.
Yeah.
But it just feels like it was too short. The first one was too short.
Right.
But I think also, as far as getting stuff going, Graveyard Shift, that's actually been a good world building.
Yeah, no, I give Billy credit. He's kept himself focused on that one. So
it's more Mark Polton who's the main person behind this.
Yeah.
I mean, because John Malin's more in there as the artist, but because you also have Sea Dog and Codename Killswitch, and you also have U.S. Assassin. They're all in the same universe.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it's unfortunate that we don't get a spotlight on those books more than we should, because it helps to the point about the crossovers and the
exactly. Which, I mean, you have the fact that Mike Miller was the first one to actually do a crossover.
Jawbreakers
and Graveyard Shift and his characters.
Right. Yes. That was one of the first.
And that was good. It was very good for what it was, and it actually kind of fit in within the stuff of Graveyard Shift to a degree.
Yeah, and actually, there's been discussion, and not that's going to go forward, but like books like Graveyard Shift and
they have another doing
Monster MD. Like, you have a lot of comic books.
Shinobi Sasquatch.
So Shinobi Sasquatch, that you could put them together, do a little crossover, because they're in the theme of horror. That it's ripe for crossovers.
Exactly, and they have some crossovers going. Not going to have another one with Mike, unfortunately, for obvious reasons. But and then you have now as far as other books I've had, Punchline, like it, Flying Fortress. For the look how thick, it's probably the thickest of the first one volumes.
Yeah, that's nice thickness.
Oh yeah, and it's good. At least Eric Weathers admits, and he was all right for me to even admit, the artwork is rough. I don't know if you've seen any of the artwork.
I've seen a couple of it. So my outlook on artwork is, it depends on the story. If the story calls for a certain style, I judge it on its own merits. So, like for example, like that. I mean, it's expressive.
Yeah.
It tells a story. If it tells a story.
Oh yeah. And it does. And I agree with that. Yeah. Then of course, now here's one that I got afterwards from the man himself, but it wasn't. Unfortunately, this is one of those way early days of crowdfunding, and it never went anywhere.
Right. Oh wow.
By Jamal Igle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Even right down to and met the man himself, got it from him, and.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is very good. This actually, I wish more was done with it. Unfortunately, it didn't go anywhere.
And this goes back to my point about like being invested in your IP. Like, you want to put it out within a reasonable amount of time, because even the creators.
Well, he almost did, but unfortunately, because that crowdfunding failed, he had to resort to putting it in a side book. Character was like crossover book on another company just to keep the character going. But he hadn't. You know how far he went? He actually had an audio drama done.
Wow.
Off of this. And you can still get it on iTunes. Just look up Molly Danger and you'll see it there. And it was really good. Professional actors and everything. And it tells you he was so invested in this. Unfortunately, though, I remember when I did the review of it, I had a lot of people dumping this because, like, why are you giving spotlight to Jamal Igle? Like, it was good. I know Jamal can be a piece of shit. I know. But
I mean, if they do good work, you want to encourage it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like when people like to complain about him putting shorts underneath Supergirl's skirt. If people forget, people complained about that short skirt. When you had Ian, I'm talking about when you had Ian Churchill doing it, it was practically like showing off her crotch and everything.
Right.
And she's supposed to be underage. I'm saying from my circles back then, people complained. And then when they gave him the skirt, the shorts underneath it, because he's like, she's about the age of my sister. I would not want to see my sister going along that. I'm like, yeah, and I didn't mind it under his artwork because he does great women. I think some of the best. Yeah.
No, but that's a good point about the underage Supergirl. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's almost like the whole Hit Girl thing with Kick-Ass. Like,
oh, yeah, good God,
I remember when IMDb had the message boards open and like all these threads on Kicker, and I'm like, you guys know she's 13 years old, right? Like
exactly. I mean, that's why the only time I could accept her crushing on Kick-Ass was in the second movie because Chloe Grace Moretz was older. Right. It made sense. The character grew with her. It made sense. You would never want to see that in the books, of which. Right. And I thought, oh boy, I do not like how they make Kick-Ass a legacy. I do not like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they just ended now Kick-Ass versus Hit Girl, and it turns out, she gave it off to someone else now. Just put it on eBay. It's like, and yet Hit Girl's asking the same question. Where's David?
Yeah.
I don't know who the hell David is. It's like, so we never get an answer there. It's like, okay, come on. Can we get an answer on where David is? Nope. But I love Hit Girl. I love Hit Girl. You know, I mean, she is one of those little pieces of shit and is so bad at. And Chloe Grace Moretz, what a great actress, right?
No, she is. She's a very good actress. Yes.
I mean, heck, I didn't mind her in Tom and Jerry. I thought she was one of the few good things about that movie.
Oh, I had not seen it. I was interested in seeing it, so I mean, it's good, and then fine.
Not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but not as good as I was hoping it would be either. It was kind of in between, but.
I'm just showing this for the people that just joined to the chat so they can see that these are the books that I'm promoting. These are my books.
Mm-hmm.
They come crowdfund. This is on the mailing list for Kickstarter, by the way. So RoadwarriorDrake.com. Sign up for the mailing list.
Yep, because you're starting to take what Tim Lim and Paul and Billy Tucci have done, and Doug Tenaple, and starting to do both one on one and then one on the other, which I wish more people would do. I wish more people would do that.
I think they should. I mean, we've been told for years that Kickstarter is not friendly to us. That, they have their own.
And then we see some examples where they are.
I mean, Tim Lim and Doug Tenaple, who are probably as far right as they come, and yet they get success on Kickstarter. So
now Mike, unfortunately, though, but that's because Mike's a bit more notorious with what he had in the book.
Yeah, it is with Kickstarter. Here's the thing. I think from my understanding is if Mike just showed images from the book that were friendlier.
Yeah, instead of the first few pages. Instead of the first
he would have gotten away with it. But the thing is, like, you have to understand who you're dealing with and work it to your advantage.
Exactly.
So with Kickstarter, you can't show certain images from your book that are considered sexual in nature or violent because they will.
Yeah, especially breaking the arms like was done.
Exactly. Right. So you got to be smart about it. Say, okay, no, I'll show the friendly pages so that I can get approved, and then the customers can see those pages for themselves.
Exactly. Like. If for example, I'm saying this as a joke. For example, if yours was more violent, I would have said put the coloring pages books in.
Yeah, I mean, I already did the page, the Kickstarter, so I got approved of it.
I know. I was being funny. I was just being funny when I said it.
Yeah. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna be friendly with this, so that way I get approved. They approved the page, so I'm good.
Yep.
And from here on in, my thing is like, okay, just act accordingly, act professional.
Exactly.
And you will be successful.
And again, I think it's because so many people have gotten this in their heads from guys like Ethan and all that saying, nope, stick to Indiegogo. It's like, yeah, but come on. Why can't you do both? I'm not saying just go for a Kickstarter and nothing else. No, do both because then you reach out to blind audiences because there are a lot of people who say, hell no to Indiegogo. It's just the way it is. Even if they're not doing it because of the bad press for Comicsgate or anything, there's just people who just don't like Indiegogo. I mean I'll tell you this. I don't like. If I could, I would stick to Kickstarter because at least there, I'm putting it down and I don't have the money taken out until afterwards. Whereas Indiegogo, out of my account right then and there. And unfortunately, that's why I started holding off a lot of times on doing it. Yeah, I don't like having the money out.
Yeah. That's a good point, and it's probably why a lot of Kickstarter creators are more successful and fulfilling.
Yeah,
they don't have that money sitting there, and then they do like a Martino Marcota or Critias and spend it on anything but.
Yeah. How many other people have done that?
Apparently, there's a lot of people. Like Mitch Breitweiser spent some of that money on.
Oh God! Don't get me started. That's the first one I did. I refunded without any regret, and not because I needed the money. I've had to do it a few times. Unfortunately, Billy Tucci's what's that one he's doing? It's like he's doing with Dynamite. Miss Fury. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's the only one where I've had to do it, and I haven't been able to put money back down yet for it.
Yes. Lorenzo Sleesafnitch. Hey, Lorenzo, what's going on?
Oh, hey, Lorenzo. Hey, I got to show you. Speaking of comics that are a bit more timely, kind of like you were saying about yours, you want to know one comic that's way more timely than it was when it was done?
Uh-oh.
the Martha Washington book.
Okay.
By Frank Miller, because there's a point where they have basically like after things are being very stressful in the country.
Right.
That's putting it mildly. And eventually and basically you had a very conservative president for so long, he caused a lot of changes. Right. Then you had this very liberal guy come in. He was actually part of the Secretary of Agriculture. Everyone else got wiped out in an assassination attack.
Yeah.
But then when he got killed, then because he got assassinated,
right?
It eventually then started leading into turned out he was barely holding the country together.
Wow.
Yeah, but then when he died, everything got so divided. I'm just trying to find the map that shows what they all divided into, because it's hilarious that Frank was so ahead of his time, and that Dave Gibbons drew this as well. So, where is it? Just a moment. You can keep showing off your stuff while I'm looking, because you'll get a snicker out of it.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see it, because I'm always looking to see stuff that'll inspire me, especially for the next book in the saga of Road Warrior Drake. So
yeah, well, this is just a map. This is just a map, and I'm going to show you where all these different, how the country was divided.
Yeah. So yeah, this is for those that are just tuning in. This is the actual book. Here's the ash can for the Drake saga, featuring the crossover with Vincent from Simonson Bodier's Blood Hunt. Here's the coloring book that features a third story in the Road Warrior Drake saga. So you get 3 books for the price of 1 if you're on the mailing list. So, but it'll be available on the Kickstarter. So,
right. If you still want to get it, you can still go there and get it.
Yeah, the Kickstarter mailing list is live at roadwarriordrake.com. So sign up for it, and then when it launches, you have an opportunity to grab this, and there's going to be incentive. I do have an incentive for Kickstarter backers to get on the mailing list.
What's it going to be?
I haven't announced it yet, but let's say I went to my print shop and he was telling me certain things that he could do. So okay.
Here it is. Here's the big map. All right, you have the original states of America. Fortunately for me, Michigan is still part of it. Yeah. I think Philly might be too. I think. But then you have the New England Federation, the East Coast Capitalist Dictatorship, which is mostly Manhattan.
Yeah.
Florida, but unfortunately, Florida looks like they're going to be bought out by Cuba soon.
Yeah.
The Lone Star Republic, which is and Texas, of course.
Yeah.
The Mexican territory, Rio America, which is the Fat Boy Burgers. Basically, it's all of the fast food. Wonderland, which is pretty much Hollywood.
Right.
God's country. I guess that's what Dan Saul was talking about with Jesus Land.
Yeah.
But then here's the big one: the First Sex Confederacy.
Oh wow!
Basically, the former First Lady declared that everything wrong in the world has been caused by men, and it's all the extreme feminists, but more like how they are currently. Frank predict. I'm just like, oh my God, I would not be surprised if we went to Civil War and all the nature was divided. At least that whole with the feminism one. You have Wonderland, where all the actors are deluded enough to think,
without getting political, because we're going to try to get political, there is so much truth to the notion of a potential civil war here, because we are so divided, and it's tragic, but it's true. It's human nature.
Yeah, but when you look at that, this was in the 80s when he did this.
Yeah.
It's like, Dominic.
Dominic, yes, Dominic. So, but Dominic, go to roadwarriordrake.com. The Kickstarter mailing list is live. Just hit that notify me on launch button to get on the mailing list, and you'll have a chance to back Street Champion Road Warrior Drake. So you still have a second chance. So don't miss out. You can get this. You can get the ash can. You can get the coloring book. Which these are all 3 separate stories in the saga of Road Warrior Drake. So go ahead and solidify yourself in the annals of Road Warrior Drake.
Yep. And I gotta say, a lot of those I just showed off. I mean, you have those. You have Doug's book. I've shown those off plenty of times. I just want people, and like your book, like I said, Doug, Mark Polton, Tim and Mark, Pellegrini. Right. I wish books were more like that, where they're coming up with, again, different books. Some of them might be able to coexist. Others, like Doug's books, cannot for legal reasons.
Right. Well,
but yeah, you know what I mean, right? Just this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know, yeah, because it's its own property. I know, I get it. But the thing with Doug's book, the hardcover is what inspired me to seek out a hardcover copy of Road Warrior Drake. And I think, it looks great. Like, the Bigfoot Bill cover.
Yep. Now there's one. Now if this size is too expensive, I suggest doing what the ukulele book did.
Oh wow.
Nowhere near as big, but yeah, look at that one. Look at how gorgeous it still is.
Yeah, the hardcover is nice. I love hardcovers on comic books. It makes it look very prestigious. I love the hardcover.
Exactly, and it still has the. I don't know if you can tell. You probably can, but it has the rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't get a good angle to show it off, but you could feel the indentation, not as much as you would here, but you could still feel it here.
Yeah.
And have you read this? Have you seen this book by any chance?
I have not. That's the first time I've seen it. I love the colors on that. Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's ukulele, based off of the crowdfunding comic.
Okay. Wow.
Yep. By DM Cumbo. If you want to meet him up, I had an interview with him a while back.
Yeah, I definitely want to check into that. Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe if you want to ask him about how he got stuff done, and I'd say one thing I do like about his artwork style, and he and I talked about it.
Yeah.
You know about the game Ukulele, of course, right?
Of course, yeah.
Laylee is a girl. You could definitely tell was by the lashes that she's more of a girl.
Yeah.
Lorenzo, I just consider I'm more focused on crowdfunding now than I ever look at CG anymore. I just look at saying you have the community and then you have the crowdfunding.
Well, don't limit yourself. If you're a creator, don't limit yourself to one community. Try to
exactly. And which I feel that's the other problem with the issue with things going on is that they are just. Geez, sorry.
If that's for me. Tell them to leave a message. I'll get back to them later.
It's all me. I was just trying to. Fortunately, I can't turn on the silence mode, but.
And I will say this though. With me being on Kickstarter, it's a challenge because a lot of the Comicsgate community won't touch it, which is fine. That's fine. Because
they had their chance to with the Indiegogo.
Exactly. So I'm saying I did my go around with CG with the Indiegogo. So it's Kickstarter. I got to be more creative when I expand and go to other people, other communities of people that love comics and try to, hey, I think you'll love it. So I got to be more creative and more hustling with that.
Now, there is a new option now after what was done here with Iconic Comics. Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought about doing this where you go right to just printing it off, but you come up with a special first version at a discounted price? Because this was $25 when I got it, but now that from what I've understood, after it goes through the first couple of hundred, it goes up to $60. And this one has a lot more features and everything. Did you ever think about that? As an option, as a possibility.
I haven't thought about it yet. The only option that comes close to what you suggested was the variant covers. So let me show you.
Right.
So the variant covers here. So I have from two artists. One is Vic King.
Oh, yep. I know about Vic. Ooh, nice one.
And this is Peter Gilmore's variant, which is inspired by the Dirty Harry poster.
Yeah.
Right.
I gotta say, I know Drake wouldn't like me saying this. He looks a bit more like Howard in that one.
Oh, stop it. This is racist. Enough. But yeah, I think with the campaigns, after the campaigns, I won't be reproducing the variants. It'll just be this cover here. So with the Kickstarter, you have one last chance to back these particular variant covers. So and whatever I have left over, once everything's been sent out, I'll probably mark it up and sell them for a little higher because they're going to be pricey.
I'm just saying, given how they've been doing this, how they actually will do the public, the printing and everything.
Right.
I'm just saying that and again, that's what Doug Ernst did. He went right instead of crowdfunding. He went right to printing. So
right.
So I'm just saying that there's always a possibility.
I can always here's the thing. I have a local print shop that does my printing, which is great because I could just hit the guy. Hey, I need a few copies of this. Can you do it for me? Which is awesome.
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome.
So I could always do separate sizes, different versions of the book if I wanted to. So that's not problematic for me. It really is.
Right. Because unfortunately for me, the clothes I have is a FedEx printing, and I'm like, that's gonna probably be pricey compared to
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but
So
now,
that
are you reading any? Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was just looking at that comment of Lorenzo when he says most custom quality books that aren't overly political and quality customer service and need a label. That's the thing.
Exactly.
The labels are good in 2018. Mm-hmm. It's 2021, and it's like.
Weren't we supposed to give up on that label long ago, but then they decided to hold on to it?
We're supposed to just get the books out. That's what it is.
We need to get the books out.
Get the books out to the customers.
I don't know how to tell you how many books they still have that aren't still out. Even ones that I was really looking forward to, like Nightmare Night or whatever it was, or the Good Night, whatever, the one with the teddy bear and everything.
So if you go to the Kiwi Farms on page 1423 in the Comicsgate thread, there's a list of books from 2018 that have not come out yet. That includes like Galactic Road into Mayhem. What was another one? There was that book by Asgard by Ben Jones. Was another one that didn't come out.
Yep. Donald.
Brutus the Badass.
Brutus. Yeah. Didn't that just start coming out now?
It's starting right now. So he's at least bringing it out. So I'll give leeway because he's putting it out. And as long as the backers get the books, it's fine. That's it.
Yeah.
It's late, but you know what? Again, they're getting the books.
But here's the thing, how many books that have come out were worth it, like the Stealing Solo? Look at what happened with that one. So
the thing is, I like Jeff. Jeff's a good artist. I feel like he should have. I feel like, and again, it goes back to that first generation of CG creators where they thought they could just put a book together and ship it out with no problem. And it's like, no, as I'm realizing with my own walk, there's a lot to just, create the book, getting it formatted properly, look at the proof copies, making sure that it's formatted properly, then fulfilling them, making sure that the books get to their customers. It is a long, drawn-out process. As a creator, you're not just producing the book. You are making sure that it goes from your hand to the customers in perfect shape. It is a process.
And then the fulfillment. I mean, look at your boy Zach. He's gone back to doing it on his own again because of so many issues with the last one.
Yeah, I mean, and then he's having problems fulfilling too because he's behind on quite a few books right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I still got the a new version of the, and when the first Jawbreakers came out, I was one of those that needed a new copy because the printing was so wonky.
Yeah.
It hurt my eyes to read bad.
Yeah, and again, I think it goes back to a lot of people in the CG circle who thought they could do it and didn't realize, you know what?
It was a lot more hard work.
Exactly.
Which is why I think having some people go through it more. I mean, oh boy, back to with Ethan. Look how long it took to get that first one out because he would so insist on the chromium covers. And yet, who were the first people to get it? The ones who ended up backing the normal cover. It's like, but why can't we have an option? Why do we have to get the chromium? Why is that a default? Can we have an option not to have it?
Yeah, I think that
really hurt it for me. That's one of the big ones that hurt it for me was the whole with the chromium covers and everything.
Yeah, and I made sure, like when I was doing Drake, that if I was going to do an option for the hardcover, it would be feasible. Would I like the nooks and crannies? Absolutely. Like again, to me, and this is my opinion. To me, I think Doug Snable did set the standard for the quality in books. I really believe that.
Oh yeah, he really did. Whereas, and the fact that even Ethan, whether he'll admit it or not, he did take from Doug the whole notion of putting stuff in those big boxes. Whoa! Echo!
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm just gotta get something from the fridge. But finish your point.
No, well, yeah, as I was saying, the fact that he set that standard of books that you can put all the stuff in the box, you get all those added material and everything, and then Ethan kind of made fun of it, and then what did he do? Oh, I'm gonna take the same idea, but I'm gonna make it limited so people are gonna feel more incentive to buy the boxes.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the issue. Look at Rainbow Brute. Look at the numbers. Nowhere near the numbers for Cyberfrog, at all.
I think a lot of that's because of the split in the community in CG. People took sides. There's a lot of faction in the Comicsgate, which is unfortunate.
Oh yeah, unfortunate.
It's a reality, and
I don't think he realized it because all the other campaigns before Rainbow Brute made him think otherwise. Once Rainbow Brute come out, I hope he had a realization, but I'm not sure.
So I'll say this about Ethan. I can tell you from recent appearances on other streams, I think he gets it because if you see his recent behavior and attitude, he's been a lot more professional. He's been more business minded. So I think he sees it. I think he understands.
I think that was what he needed. I think he needed to realize, oh crap, I'm not even near 500,000 yet. Yeah. Even by now, he's only broken 400,000 recently, and that's I'm just like. And I'll be honest, I have no interest in Rainbow Brute, period. And unfortunately, I hope next campaign he changes how he does the prices.
Yeah,
that's the other issue. That's the other issue. Because if you notice, sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was thinking, have you noticed the? He sold out all those golden boxes for Cyberfrog. Didn't do that for anywhere close to the lunch boxes.
Right.
For
I think I think that the split in the community, the factions, all that was a factor. So many creators, I would say more of the independently, the lower creators are the ones that are suffering from those factions, because it used to be that a lower creator like myself could have gotten 10 grand, maybe 15, but it seems like some of them can't break 3 grand. I got close to 5 grand, which to me is successful because
and then you have people who cheated by setting their thing to like 500 just so they can trick the algorithms. I hate that. I hate people doing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't fault them for doing that because I get it.
Because you want to be on that list and stay on the front page, but
right.
But at the same time, though, what if you don't break that many and you can get enough then to be able to do all? I feel people who do the $500 are doing it with the assumption they're going to get enough.
Yeah, that's true. That is there too. So it's like they have to they got to really look at the risk. Study what worked before you, what failed before you, and then use that as a means to be successful. So you're not repeating mistakes over.
And one prime example I keep on wanting to give of a crowdfunding that really shows you the problem was that, unfortunately, though, it also set a bad standard was what was War Campaign's first book?
Vestige.
Vestige.
Right.
I have no idea what it's about. You look into it, you look on that page, you have no idea what it's about. Cool artwork and everything, but unless you watch their shows, which who would, you had no idea, except they say, we're War Campaign, we're Comicsgate, Ethan Van Sciver, and yet you had no idea, and yet look at how well after the split, when you had no longer any guaranteed purchases, look how well the second campaign did.
So you just brought up something that I find faulty with Comicsgate, which is their love affair with good art. Yes, I love good art, but you know what? A, art is subjective. And B, if you can't tell a sequential story, I don't give a shit how good your art is.
Right here. I mean, yeah. So I was to bring up as an example. The artwork is so, but the story is very good.
Exactly. It's the comic is the sum of its part. It's not just good artwork. It's artwork married to the writing.
Exactly.
An entire package.
Which I think is also something that Ethan kind of set that standard of having people think it's just cool artwork.
And that goes
Who cares about the story?
Right. That goes back to the 90s image where it was about
that's the whole thing about that's the whole thing I think that's the biggest thing is so many people in CG, at least those that were the real big pushers.
Right.
I have a feeling so many of them were read comics in the 90s, might have left for a while, but then came back recently, and their mindset is I prefer the 90s style when it's like the 90s style, image style, really had a lot more faults. There's a reason why it didn't take off that well until it went beyond the original founders.
Yes, and I was turned off. I was in high school at the time, and I was turned off by the image. I was like, you know what? That's
there's a reason why Spawn Savage are the only two still going nonstop.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I prefer the 80s comics. Early 90s is my cutoff point. But the 80s had, to me, the most mature.
I'd say 90s DC is some of my standards. Late 90s DC especially. No Man's Land, Death and Return of Superman, Nightfall.
That was early to mid.
Yeah, Cassandra Cain, Batgirl.
Right.
Starman. Oh, God, Starman. That is such a great one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Lorenzo, you're right. Image was mainly artists, not writers. Yeah. Now, some of them could tell good writing. Jim Lee is still decent with writing. Not as that good, but he's decent. Right. Eric Larson, before he went nuts, very good at writing. Tom McFarlane, very good at writing. You have, he's busy doing some other stuff, but yeah, in some of these ones, but then you have Rob Liefeld, can't write to save his life at all. But that's usually why he would have some other people like Fabian Nicieza or others writing. But yeah, you need good writers sometimes. You're still on mute, man, but just so you know. But yeah, yep.
No, listen, writing is important in comics. Don't it's definitely important, and it can save mediocre artwork.
Man, look at Youngblood. It took until Alan Moore finally actually gave some characterization to Rob Liefeld's work that people actually started to remember it fondly. Like Supreme. Nobody cared a shit about Supreme until Alan Moore, and it's considered a classic. It's considered a must-read.
Right, and Swamp Thing's the best run in the 80s was because of Alan Moore.
Exactly. I mean, people don't think about the artwork; they think about the writing.
Yeah, and look, Watchmen has some serviceable artwork, but it's
Mm-hmm.
considered one of the best graphic novels of all
Well,
time.
I love Dave Gibbons' artwork. So,
Oh, no, I
but
like it too. I'm a fan of that artwork because to me, like the '80s artwork had to me some of the best artwork in comics. Just because,
Frank Miller. I mean, and in fact, look at Frank Miller. He went from requiring an inker to more doing it on his own, and it shows. But it's still one of those well-remembered stories.
yes.
Heck, Sin City was very well done. Then you have shit like Holy Terror. We don't talk about that.
I love Sin City. To me, that it was just so experimental. I loved it.
Yeah, definitely. Who's criminal? Brandon Cho. Yes, him especially on Wait, no, that was Andy Hartnell that worked on Danger Girl. Oh, I miss Danger Girl. Don't you? Did you ever read that? J. Scott Campbell.
I mean, I was familiar with Danger Girl, but I've never read Danger Girl.
Oh, you'd love it. You'd love it.
There's a lot of books I had to read because I spent my last few years creating that I never got to sit down and actually get back to just reading. So I'm going to catch up on a lot of books that I want to read again.
Yeah, if you read Danger Girl, you love. I mean, it's J. Scott Campbell on artwork throughout the whole book, so you can tell what kind of ladies you're going to get.
Oh, I'm sure of it. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, to the point where there was actually a fan edit that basically made everyone the girls naked.
Oh, okay.
I'm not kidding. There's a fan edit out there of them doing that, and it's just like they went throughout the whole book. You're like, wow, you guys have no lives, do you? If they're willing to do it for that big of a book, if you see the book, you see how thick it is. It's like a bunch of like 8-page press double size pages.
Right.
Yeah, they had no life.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you guys need to go out and have some sun for a little bit. Just enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it.
As far as other writers, there's some writers who focus so much on the edginess, but I think have gotten better. And that's like Mark Millar. Look at what happened after Man of Steel traumatized him. He's been mostly writing more uplifting stories.
Right. You know what? Sometimes it takes a fall for good art to rise again. So yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, in that case, though, it was seeing someone else be even more edgier than he was with Superman, a character that's beloved to him. And then you then you did Superior, which I loved Superior. You know, you ever read that one?
I have not yet.
Oh, well, basically, let me put it this way: it's take what if Shazam instead of Billy, and Billy was a paraplegic, but what is having the elder form would actually give him a chance to do stuff. What if instead of an old man who had good intentions, what if it was a space monkey who was actually a devil?
Oh boy!
And it turns out he gives them a whole week with the powers. And then eventually going to be like, okay, that was your test ride to give you it. Now, if you really want to keep it, you got to give me your soul.
Oh, interesting.
That's the whole story of it. And it's so good.
Wow.
But I will just say this. I think the other problem is so many of these people, like Ethan, put too much emphasis on the streaming. To the point where I think that's where it killed us. Like, he probably gets Cyberpunk done sooner if he wasn't streaming so much.
So unfortunately, and while I do agree with that, but unfortunately, a lot of what we're doing is dependent upon getting ourselves out there.
Oh no, and I agree with getting it out there, but I'm saying no, don't do like streaming every day like he used to. He's kind of cut back on the streaming, I've noticed, but
yeah, I think he's more trying to get the books out now. As he's
because I don't think we would have had to delay for the first Cyberpunk if he didn't, because I think he would have gotten that on time like he was going to. Right. But then the streaming took over his time and everything, and that just so.
Yeah, there was a period where it was like he didn't do it every night back a couple years back. He did it like every other night or whatever.
Yeah.
And then to the point where I think it was early last year where he started doing it every night. This is before the pandemic. This was like
right. Well, yeah, well before the pandemic. I know. Right. I remember because I've been there. Hey, I was there right when it was England team and all that. I've been around since then.
Right. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So, and I watched all this stuff happen and unfold, and that's the reason why I'm so outspoken about some of this stuff. I was there when it got off the ground. I was never fully part of it, but that's why I feel like, guys, look at how this is. Because here's an opinion I've had. I know it's gotten a lot of people would get ticked off. Mm-hmm. I think we wouldn't have had so many problems with how the mainstream looked at us if there are a lot of people out there who wouldn't be tagging in creators to put them on blast, to tell them to their proverbial digital face how much they sucked at everything. It's like that's the downside of the internet. Normally in real world, there's a reason I use it as a good example.
Right.
You've heard about the guy who gave a How to Draw the Marble Way to Rob Liefeld and told him, why did you read this?
Yes.
Unfortunately, but what do people applaud him? No, they think you're an asshole.
Yes.
And yet, I feel a lot of people in CG are thinking like they're that guy.
Oh yeah. Listen, I can tell you first-hand experience. They're exactly like that guy. Like
exactly. They think like they're like, look at me. Yeah, I'm saying what everyone else wanted to say. You're a freaking asshole. You don't know. You're a hack. And it's like everyone else around him is like everyone's like back patting him, or in his mind, yep, pound the back, pound the back.
Yeah.
But everyone else around him is like, you're a freaking asshole, dude. Well, I don't want to be near you. And I think when we were built off on a lot of that. That's the downside with CG. It started off, not initially, but once it started getting more of those people,
right.
And then War Campaign came along and made it feel like that's a good tactic to go with.
And the thing is, right, and with what I'm doing, I see it now. It's like, you know what? All this, like, going back and forth with other creators and fighting and all this stuff, it's like, it's not there. You know where it's at?
Yeah.
Producing your book, have fun with it, ship it to the customer, and solidify that relationship. It really just, it does alter your mind to a point where it's like, yeah, you know what? Now's the time to be professional. This whole back and forth with other people.
Exactly. And heck, I don't even think Mark Waid would have done the stuff he did with your boy Zach thing if Comicsgate didn't have that reputation beforehand, because he probably had heard of people tagging in friends of his and being like, you suck, you're a piece. It's like, and I'm just like, you guys have to tag them in to do this. You can state your opinion on Twitter. I'm not going to ever disparage that. But don't bring them into it just to say you're a piece of shit and here's why. This is my opinion that you're a piece of shit. And then they start to get into it. It's like, yes, there are some who have very poor egos, but there's other creators who are like, well, I don't think it like that. Well, why did you do it like that? Because my story, well, your story sucks. Oh, geez, I don't have to put up with this.
So you know what's funny is that now the Comicsgate creators are feeling that pressure now from within themselves, because now they're tagging each other and arguing, trying to saying each other sucks, and it's like,
yeah, exactly. But they're not seeing, they're not looking back and realizing this is how they treat it. As far as they're concerned, they're like, oh, like the pros are still. Because here's the other thing: the way I see it is, these people kept on. These pros are human beings, like anyone else. But it feels like these people in early CG, were the real outrage ones were like, we could be assholes to them, but they have to be professionals to us. It's like, no, they don't. Being professional is talking to people who might be a little bit like saying, well, you know what, I didn't care for your work. And then they're like, well, I tried. That's being professional. Being unprofessional would have been if they said, I don't care for your work. Oh, what did you like about it? That's being unprofessional.
See, here's the thing. I don't like Ta-Nehisi Coates. I hate what he's doing in Captain America, but I'm not going to tag him every single time and say, hey, I think you're a piece of shit. It's like, you know what? He's doing what he's doing. I'm going to leave him alone because I don't got nothing to do with him. I'm not supporting him. I'm just doing my own thing. So, and
again, I do think the moment your boy Zach made the whole man in a wig thing, it was over. I think even when he did it in a dark stream, it was over. The moment you unfortunately, I think that's the other thing is you had people who felt like I could say what I want because, and then they should have just realized it's the whole problem with the calm personality. Because I still remember this. I remember having a good back and forth with Tamara Bonvillain a while back, and she was basically I don't care for the woman herself, but I was being polite to her. Yeah. And I went to at one point, she would bring up about how your boy Zach could, has all these people. And I'm like, you realize some of these people are doing it. He's not telling them to do it. And she's like, yeah, I get he's not telling them to do it, but I wish he could at least try to encourage them not to do it. Right. And I just said, I completely agree. He could. But then I also point out, doesn't guarantee they're not going to listen. And she agreed with me on that.
So I think
these people are not closed-minded. They're actually reasonable.
I think at the end of the day, if you're a creator, whether you're a mainstream creator or indie creator, the goal is not to fight other creators. The goal is to create something to fill a void in the community. Right now, we have a void for good stories, fun characters. You need to fill that void when you have other tripe like certain books. Bendis is Superman. We could have had someone give us a more true blue Superman, even if he's not really Superman. We could have filled that void. Well, now we have Philip Kennedy Johnson coming on, who's actually going to give us a good Superman. So you're like, you missed your chance, guys. Yeah, exactly. So, Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's like we spent a couple years arguing with the mainstream and
Yeah.
fighting amongst ourselves. This was not the way it was supposed to be. We're supposed to. When I came into CG, I thought it was an open door for me to put a book out for people that otherwise never would have heard about it.
Exactly.
But it turned out to be, oh no, we're going to wage a war against the industry.
When I was there, I thought this was a case where we're going to speak our mind and actually try and get people to listen. We're going to try and open dialogues and everything. And yeah, I'll say this also: the first red flag was when Yellow Flash did. Now he ended up regretting it nowadays, but initially when he did that boycott list and spread it around, just everyone spam it everywhere, that was the first red flag.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
and I remember everyone told him off. Everyone was saying, dude, no. And he eventually took it down. Of course, he was like, why did people tell me not to do it? I was just being honest. Right. Then once War Campaign came on, that became more the standard, unfortunately. And yeah, again, I do think War Campaign is probably did the most long-term damage, unfortunately, where it's gotten everyone to think their tactics, which was the worst tactics, is the right way to go. That's what I say. That's been, unfortunately, the biggest downside of it all, was that stuff.
So I think a lot of people, I could say, kind of like understand that now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't undo a lot of damage because a lot of creators...
Oh, no, because there's a lot of people... It's left a taint, if you ask me. It's tainted people... yeah, like Lorenzo said, too much gatekeeping. Exactly. Yeah. There's still too much gatekeeping. There's still people who they got rid of War Campaign, but they still think like War Campaign does.
Oh, the gatekeeping is everywhere in CG. And the thing with that is this, in my experience, is I'm aware of it. So it's like I have my core people that back me. Like I'm with the trash compactor guys, and I got my success with those guys. That's my core. So my challenge is to go beyond and see a community of people that just want book. I want good books.
Exactly. And that's when I looked at it. Right. It's like with me. I mean, here's where I lost. Now, I'm not going to say the name of who said this, but what turned me away completely was when one night I'm trying to talk. I think it was about Donnie Cates, and I was just trying to say, like, hey, I separated her from the artist. And one of the more bigger names, at least more bigger name at the time, guys told me, you're what's wrong with this. You're part of the problem. I'm like, because I'm separated from the artist, I'm still willing to buy the book, even if the guy's being a piece of shit. I'm part of the problem.
And this is where they fuck up. Because you are a consumer. You're looking at it from a very unique perspective.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're saying something, creators like myself should listen and say, hey, let me hear what he's got to say.
Exactly.
I made that mistake with quite a few customers who I labeled anti-CG. No more.
Right.
Some of them became my customers, and that's when I'm like, you know what? I fell into that trap of labeling them. I was wrong for that. So I'm not doing that anymore. So you might not like some people that I like, but I'm not going to label you anything because maybe what you're saying has a little bit of value and gold in it. Let me hear what you got to say and apply it to me. It could work.
Exactly. It's like how people used to complain about Superboy Prime when Jeff Johns was saying, oh, he represents the toxic fans. And everyone's like, oh, none of us are like that. I hate to say this. I look around people in this community lately. I'm like, Jeff Johns was maybe a bit too ahead of his time. Maybe he was focused on what was a smaller group, but it's become such a large group now that it's like, wow. To the point where I sometimes doing that, how many times I've questioned, have you read a comic? Have you actually kept up to date with comics and things like that? Because there's just so many people who they bring up stuff like, oh, this has never happened. I'm like, it's happened before dozens of times, people. And yet it's like, like I said, are you sure you're a longtime comic fan? Are you sure you bought comics? Because if you did, you would know this stuff.
A lot of them came into the fray thinking they knew what to do. They didn't realize a lot of what they were trying to do was done before.
Yeah, so exactly.
They should have had an open mind on how they could do it better.
Or they don't know the characters as well as they think. Especially when there's so many times where the character's never done this. In the 90s, it was done. Yeah. Better, granted, but it was done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what they're doing with... here's the thing. You have the Falcon and Winter Soldier. What they're doing with John Walker, it's pretty much adapting the Captain storyline with just some changes.
Yeah.
And I like that. What he just did in the recent episode, it's pretty much what led into 350.
Yeah.
You know, the whole, something horrible happened and he killed someone over it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, now we don't have Steve who's going to come to the rescue, granted, but, you know.
Right. No, I hear exactly what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, but again, you have people who are like, oh, no, they're trying to do, it's like, guys, this is what happened with John Walker back then. You know what I mean? You try to tell them.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I know. You like you said, you try telling them, and they label you a certain thing. They tell you you're kooky. They tell you to shut up. They tell you that you're just spurging out, or that.
Yeah.
And
or
again,
like the stuff with the current two new Lanterns. Everyone, because her one issue when that Teen Lantern said I hacked the Green Lantern stuff, everyone just sticks to that story. But if you actually continued reading and eventually got to her origin issue in issue 9, she then basically find out later she didn't hack jack shit. She ended up being given the gauntlet that was already tapped into it. The most she did was rework it. Whoa, echo.
Sorry, I forgot to put the headphones on.
No problem. But like I said, he then instead, she reworked it to make it much more able to hold on to it. But for the most part, she didn't hack it. She's not Riri 3.0 or whatever. And yet,
I think that customers are just reserved because they've had the wool pulled over them once, so they're just, they don't want it to happen again. So I can understand that reservation.
I understand, but when they keep on, even well after that reveal happened, they keep saying she hacked it. She's a horrible character. It's like, guys, she didn't hack it. And yet, hey, Lorenzo, you're in Michigan? So am I.
Nice.
Yep, I'm a fellow Michigander.
Lorenzo's good to talk to because he knows his comic stuff and he's just.
Oh, I know. There was a time I was blocked by him, probably because of some of the people I follow. But I'm not blocked. I'm not blocked. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he blocked me.
Yep. So, but I know I'm not blocked anymore. But yeah, though it's just like I said. You see so many people who start arguing about how characters are done. Mm-hmm. And you brought this up once when we were DMing. The person who did that one image to show off their artwork. And they showed up a pretty decent Marvel image, and yet they were expecting. They deleted that tweet. I've noticed.
They have, yes.
Yeah, but they're trying to use that as a way of. I'm in Novi, if you want to know, Lorenzo. But yeah, they try to use it. Like, see, my artwork's so much better. And like you said, they copied and pasted facial expressions, and it turned out the example they gave was a pretty decent She-Hulk stuff. I guess they part of me things like they were like, "Oh, She-Hulk is suckily drawn. Just put any She-Hulk image on."
The point is though, in that particular page though, the She-Hulk was expressive. Number one, number two, the sequential panels were telling the story. And
she wasn't that bulky without losing her femininity.
Yeah.
And she was like a bodybuilder, but a female bodybuilder.
I mean, it wasn't the worst She-Hulk, absolutely. But that CG page that was displayed, again, there was copy-pasted expressions. There was one expression that guy was doing. Copy-pasted all over. You're looking at the panels, you're wondering what the hell's going on. You had to find out from another thread, oh, he's chasing a ghost. Well, I couldn't tell by that page, so...
Exactly. But it's like, if he had used a different image instead from Marvel, that would make his look better by comparison. That's still not a good thing.
I mean, he could draw. That guy could draw.
Oh yeah. But I'm just saying.
Can you tell the story? If you can't tell the story, your shit will be thrown out in the garbage.
Oh, exactly.
And I know that for a fact because in college, I was a student of Carmine Infantino.
Oh.
He was big.
Yeah, I know about Carmine. I know about Carmine. Supergirl and so much.
He was big on storytelling and designing.
Yeah. Oh, man. Losing him, that was a devastating when he passed.
It was. I actually, it did hit me hard because he was influential with me in terms of my storytelling and design.
You know what was influential for me, and even though I only talked to the guy for 3 days? Dwayne McDuffie. I met him literally a year before he died.
Yeah.
Literally. And talking to him all 3 of those days was a blast. Just really opened my eyes to a lot of it. And we didn't even talk that much, but when we did, I just got a good understanding of him.
Yeah. A lot of the old school guys, they have a lot of red pill knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. Even though they still wear some of their politics on their sleeves, they knew how to keep some things balanced. And, it's like the whole notion of what Michael Jordan said, Republicans buy shoes too. And yeah. But it's just again the state of things that we've reached these days. People just want to complain. They want to bitch and moan. And I think that's been the downside with this community is that you have some people who just want. Oh, you gotta get going.
Oh yeah, in a few minutes.
Okay, but I say no. There are some people who just, I think, want to keep going with the hatred. I think there are some people in this community who want to keep pushing all this. It's why when I keep hearing stuff like, "Oh, it's gonna die," or "Oh, the biggest one recently." That woman CEO from Warner Media, which she was calling the Snyderverse people toxic, then they're saying, "Oh, they're talking about us," when it's like, when did we get colluded in with the Restore the Snyderverse people? And then what happened to Jeff Johns? Oh, Ray Fisher and the toxic side of the Snyder fans were going after him.
Yeah.
Boy, that must have been some egg on some of the guys' faces, that they were trying to deny the toxic people existed so they can be, oh, they're talking smack about us. There's no toxic people at all. And then these toxic people go after someone that people like Ethan are good friends with.
Right.
What? That's what, again, I feel like so many people in this community keep looking for more reasons to keep the outrage going, because that's what they make their money off of.
That's what it is. It's like if you look at like the Nerdrotic or the Quartering of those guys, that's how they make their money, is by being perpetually angry. And it's
exactly. But even the Quartering, there are times where he'll call out when things are a bit stupid. I will give him. Like, just recently, you have that actress hired on the Indy 5. Everyone's already saying woke, when it's like, guys, she was just brought in to be an actress. She's not writing like the James Bond movie.
We're talking about
what's her name?
The one for Indiana Jones 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are already saying it's woke, when it's like, she's an actress. She might do her own improvisation solo. Doesn't mean that's going to happen here.
I mean, the worst thing about the last film was not that it was woke; it was just a poorly written story. So,
oh, exactly. And what people are complaining about, oh, she did all the improvisational line that was woke, and it's like, probably because she took advantage of the fact that it was so horribly directed.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
and basically when you have it, they were trying to rush it out. Of course, they're going to let people do improvisational lines.
I mean, look, Laura Dern in Jurassic Park said, "A woman takes over the Earth." After Jeff Goldblum gave that speech, it didn't ruin the movie, so
Yeah, exactly. And of course, she was being facetious, I think. And there's a reason why you had the guys look at her. She's like, "Are you kidding?"
Exactly.
So that was part of the joke, and yet. Again, but then you have them saying like, "Oh, it's woke," and the Forest 5 is originally officially going woke. It's like, unless she does writing as well, I'll believe it when I see it. And then I just got into a bit of a back and forth with this one guy saying how he's like, "Oh, it's going to be woke, all right, and you better get ready." It's like, or he brings up Mortal Kombat. Like you have that one guy saying, "Oh, yes," he brings up BLM a little bit, but he talked about how they're not having Johnny Cage in this one. They might have him in the next one. I'm like, okay, I can accept it. You can't have everyone in one film. Otherwise, you get Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And who wants that?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
But so I'm like, I'm willing to wait. But yeah, we got to start wrapping up.
Yeah, I got to start wrapping up.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It was great to have you. And yeah, anyone that watches this afterwards, I'll put a link down at the description. Send me a link for the Kickstarter, and I'll put that in there as well.
I'm putting in the private chat, but it's roadwarriordrake.com. That will go straight to the Kickstarter billing list.
All right, I will then put that in the description. I will post that wherever I can. And again, thank you so much, man. It's great to have you.
I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the chat. You guys are great. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, this is some of the more active chats I've had in a while. Usually, I haven't been this active.
Well, I posted a link out to quite a few people.
Oh, I know. No, I get you. I'm saying normally I get a few people in and out. That's it.
Well, for those of you out there in the chat, I mean, tune into Robert every week. He has creators on. It's good comic book chat. So help him out.
Oh, yep. I'll invite you back, Lorenzo. But yeah, take care, everyone, and hope to have someone on next time, or hope to get another video out soon. So probably will be your book.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. You should be getting it any day now.
Wednesday's when it's said.
Right. Awesome.
All right. So catch you later.